Welcome to another video where we're going to be going over more physical media. Because what is better than physical media? Well, nothing. I can't think of anything. And today, I finally got my package of some Shivers Down Your Spine 90s horror novels for children. Not Goosebumps, because I basically just said the title and what my little phrase was. The Shivers series. Now, these books are, more rare than Goosebumps. I'm not saying they're extremely rare. Some of them you can find pretty easily, but some you just can't. Some are more rare and not very easy to come by. So, couldn't find any in the local thrift stores around here. I do plan on going to a bookstore that's actually kind of further away from me, like an hour away. I'm still really trying to find like a really good used bookstore. Still haven't really found one of those yet. So, I was like, screw it. I think I'm gonna order some books. And I have more coming. One of them is an R.L. Stine book. Not Goosebumps, but The Nightmare Hour. Which, a lot of the stories in that one, I think actually all of the stories except for one got adapted into television for R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. Which, actually, funny enough about that, The Haunting Hour actually is yeah, it's R.L. Stine. He was a consultant, creative consultant on that shore, but yeah, other than his stories from that book being adapted, and then I think one story from his Haunting Hour book was adapted. The name was just kind of a tie-in to the movie because the people who created the movie already own that title, so they were like, screw it, we'll just call it The Haunting Hour for the Hub channel, the Hub children's channel that was on TV that actually got reformed into a different name. I don't remember what that is. This might all be cut out. I'm probably actually going to go over more of this when I research more of it for a different video, because I think that would be a pretty cool video. But yes. Anyway, yes, his stories were adapted for the show, but there was a lot of episodes just made up by the creators. But anyway, we'll get more into that later. I think that'd be a pretty fun video to do. This time, however, we're going to be unboxing some Shivers. I got my razor blade here. Let's see what they are like. So I saw they were in pretty decent condition online. Hopefully, they are in pretty decent condition now. I don't see why they wouldn't be, but just can't ever be too sure, First up, we have newspaper on top. Always good to have some padding. And it looks like they actually wrapped them up inside of a little bag here. Some kind of a seal. That's nice that they sealed them up for us. Hopefully it didn't squeeze too much of the covers or anything like that. Sometimes those little seals can mess up the covers, but I think they will be okay in this. Of course, I have to have a cut here because my camera decided it was going to die. This is the bad battery, so let's get back into it, shall we? As I was saying, I don't know how much of it got cut out. I'll have to see when I edit it. These all seem to be in pretty good condition. The photos were true to the actual item online. They were pictures of the actual item, but maybe they have good books they don't want to get rid of, and then they just put in some bad ones. I don't know. Could be things like that that happen. Luckily, that didn't happen, so I am very happy about that. And I keep staring at this viewfinder. I need to start looking at the camera. Sorry, I'm not used to it. Even though I've made freaking 2 movies, I'm not used to that crap. Could you believe it? Anyway, got the seal off. And let's start at the top, shall we? Shivers by M.D. Spenser's Ghostwriter. Let's read the back of them. Why not? Because I haven't read any of these yet. I've heard these are way more intense than Goosebumps and Scarier. And some of them are considered to be just good horror stories, good horror novels, rather than just kids' books. Cameron Chaney. I actually heard say that from Library in the Cobb, so pretty sure that is correct. Let's see how they smell, because I love smelling these old books. They always have such a good smell. Yep, it smells like a Goosebumps book. Definitely has that 90s paperback smell. Probably the best book smell in the world. Anyway, let's read the back of Ghostwriter. Memories of Murder. Amber and her family have just moved into a 100-year-old house. While she's exploring the house, she discovers a trunk containing some very old letters. She accidentally drops one of the letters in the mailbox. The very next day, she gets a reply, a ghost reply, all about the family that built the house, their murder, and clues that help Amber solve this horrible crime. But be warned, this is a frightening tale of fan mail from the dead. Ooh, sounds pretty good. I like the sound of that, actually. Sounds very nice. Okay, let's put this down there on the ground, because it'll be safe right there. I got stuff all over these tables. Actually, you know what? For effect, let's just put them up here. Why not? Hopefully that candle won't touch them. That would be an interesting part of the video, wouldn't it? That ain't gonna happen. I'll make sure that don't happen. I'll pinch that sucker out before that happens now. Anyway, Ghostwriter. Now we got... Hold on a second. They did. They lined them up completely so that I would be reading... Let's just say they were all in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They put them in order, so number 1 would be the first one, then number 2 would be the second one. However, it started with, of course, number 3, then 6, 10, 11, 27, and 30. That's pretty cool they did that, actually. It's pretty cool. Anyway, number 6 in the series, The Haunting House. I don't think I showed the first one, actually, my bad. Here it is. Here's the back of it. Okay. I like how you can definitely tell these are Goosebumps knockoffs, because just look at it. You can tell. Borders are kind of, you know, similar in a way. Anyway, number 6, The Haunting House. Home Sweet Deadly Home. When Caitlin moves into an old house, she has a strange feeling. Bizarre noises bother her. Weird things start to happen. Things that cannot be explained. At first, Caitlin thinks the house must be haunted. But is there something at work even more frightening than the ghost? And more dangerous? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Ooh, sounds like it should be very dangerous then. Cool. Sounds pretty cool. Don't know what are in any of these books really, except for just a few, because like I mentioned before about Cameron Chaney, I have heard him talk some about these books. This one in particular, number 10 in the series, The Curse of the New Kid. This one is supposed to be absolutely bonkers and crazy and wicked in every which way. So let's read the back, shall we? Was it an accident or a curse? Or maybe worse? I love the rhyming in that. Lucas Little, or Lucas Lytle. I'm just going to say Lucas Little. Lucas Little is used to being the new kid in school. He's 12 years old, and he's already been in 8 different schools. When everybody from the bullies to the nerds pick on him, he feels like he's cursed. Then, all at once, strange and horrible things start to happen to his enemies. At first, Lucas is confused, but then he begins to enjoy it, until it becomes too frightening for him to handle, and he is too scared to scream. That sounds pretty cool. You know, a lot of people hate whenever their books are written in, these old books. Don't get me wrong, I do too. But in a way, it's kind of cool, because it's like, there's a history to it. Like right here, it says, Sorry, my cursive is not great because they stopped teaching that when I was in school. When they're like, no, we're not gonna teach it anymore. So I'm not too well at it. Actually, how I've been learning cursive is from my old horror films, like in Frankenstein, for example. Yeah, there's cursive and letters and stuff on that you have to read. So it says Mrs. Cluffy? I don't know. It probably is not that at all. Again, I'm not very good at cursive. It might say Mrs. Cluggy. I don't know. Anyway, Curse of the New Kid. Oops, I almost dropped it. Let's turn them this way. I just realized I hadn't turned the wrong way. Alright, this one I thought looked pretty freaking cool. Okay. Number 11 in the series. Guess who's coming for dinner? You see that? You see this right here? That makes me think of that Tales from the Dark Side episode where Grandpa comes back from the dead. Yeah, I don't remember what that one's called, but delicious. Anyway, with friends like that, who could die? Michael Studevant. Okay, Sturdivant. Michael Studevant is quiet and doesn't have many friends. Josh Jennings is the most popular kid in school, but yet they're friends. Enter the decidedly strange Studevant family, especially Michael's creepy little sister, Gladys. Among other weird things, this family enjoys dinner, maybe too much. But when Josh's class teacher vanishes after a supper invitation from the Studevants, he gets the unappetizing feeling she was the main course. Ooh! Now, would Josh be on the menu for the most ghoulish meal of the day? I don't know, you tell me. I haven't read it yet. I'm sure many of you have read this and even got to grow up with them. You know, I grew up in the 2000s. I never got to see the 90s, not even once. But that being said, the 90s had a huge imprint in the 2000s still for children like me. I see my next battery is also about to die. Let's try to wrap this video up, shall we? Alright. Number 27. Camp Fear. These camp books are actually pretty cool. And the Goosebumps they are. I'm sure they are in the Shivers series as well. Not sure how many there are. Rocks That Roll Horror Show. Jane and her friends take the rocky road and soon learn that camping can be very hazardous to their health. Somewhere out in the wilderness, they join their class for a 3-day camping adventure. A most bizarre adventure into fear. Their camp was once part of a magnificent, mysterious estate. Now all around the sound of crying can be heard. Beyond the camp is the real horror. There deep under the land is a forgotten mine. A class project takes the girls to the terrible tunnel below. Suddenly, they must face their fears, fight to stay alive, and find out the true cost of friendship. Fool's gold for ghouls. Fool's gold for ghouls, huh? Cool. No complaints so far with all these books. They all seem to be pretty good. And, of course, we have this. It is number 30, Creepy Clothes, with that classic American Gothic picture turned into skeletons. That's pretty cool. Right, MD Spenser, let's see what the back says now. Ready to wear, nightmare. Have you ever been sent far away from home, all alone to a place you've never known, where the wind wears phantom pants and very ugly ties? Well, that's just the spot Patricia and her brother Sam found themselves in one bright, sunny day. It was bad enough that they had to stay in a strange city with their even stranger aunt, but when they did find that dusty trunk full of old clothes, they traveled back to a time tailor-made for terror. It's a fashion flashback wrapped in a frightening mystery, and nothing to wear but horrible hats, scary shirts, and terrible turtlenecks. Will they ever be able to look in the mirror again? Button up for fear. Hey, you know what? no complaints so far at all. These all seem pretty freaking cool. So, I'm really excited to read all of these. My camera died maybe like 3 times, so it wants me to end this video. But I'm not finished yet, because I must say, if there are any Shivers books you all have read, put them down in the comments below. Tell me about them. Don't spoil them because I haven't read them yet. But, tell me your experience with them. Tell me if you grew up with them, or if you're like me, you grew up in the 2000s and they were old at that point, but you still read them. I mean, not old, but older. Because 2000s was right after the 90s. So, they were still kind of prevalent, I assume. I never actually read one of these. I've read Goosebumps as a kid, but I had never even heard of Shivers until I started seeing them in stores. And I didn't pick them up when I saw them because I'm like, well, I don't know too much about this series. And then later I wanted to read them whenever I found out how crazy they were. And of course, now I can't find them anywhere, so I got them online. Hopefully I'm finding some in stores eventually. I know they're kind of harder to find in stores, but there's another series called Bone Chillers. Yeah, that one seems to be pretty expensive, the later end of those books there. They even made a TV show with that one. I'm really, really interested in reading those and watching the TV show. I know Linda Cardellini is in that, and I love her in Scooby-Doo, so I'm sure I'm going to love her in that too. So I'm looking forward to watching that as well. Yeah, tell me your all's experience with Shivers or any other of these, 90s horror books, or new ones too, of course, sure. I'm like really, 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 really into children's horror. If you all couldn't tell by now, I'm sure you probably can. But, sure, I like other horror movies too. I've talked about my classic horror movies as well. Newer horror movies too, of course. Yeah. But, there's just something to be said about children's horror. Children's horror seems to be some of the most spookiest, wackiest, craziest stuff out there. Anyway, yeah, let me know. I'm interested to hear anyone's experience. So, yeah, please tell me. Alright, let's shut this thing off for the final time.